Hello there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're joined with the lovely Kimberly Russell from over in the US. Today we're going to be talking about her health journey, a massive weight loss, and all the success she's had over the past year or two. Now she's had a very interesting story in regards to where she started and where she is now, and she's a totally different person. I barely recognise her sometimes, but yeah, how are you doing, Kimberly? And where did you start from? What was your start point years ago?
So my start point was I was about 8 years ago. I was about 250 pounds, and I kind of had an epiphany moment, and where two young ladies had made a remark about my weight not being good enough for my husband. So I ended up starting my journey. Then I went into keto and intermittent fasting. Started there, lost a tremendous amount of weight. I lost probably about 40 or 50 pounds. And then, I kind of got to be skinny fat. I ended up having a total and complete hysterectomy. I do have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that I was diagnosed with when I was 33. And so it makes me hyper flexible, and causes joint issues. So I had that along with, after having my hysterectomy, I developed postural orthostatic tachycardia, which is POTS for short, and was almost bedridden for about 3 years. And then my wonderful husband found Carnivore, and I started doing Carnivore. And within 6 months, my POTS went into remission. I wasn't working out at the time, but I still was trying to monitor what I was eating. But unfortunately, not having the right information about Carnivore, I did start gaining weight on it. I gained about 40 or 50 pounds, but I think it also had to do with hormone issues from the hysterectomy. Then fast forward a little bit, I kind of been going back and forth with training. I started working out in the gym because my PT told me, my physical therapist told me that I had spinal and cervical instability due to my EDS, and that I needed to get my butt in the gym and I needed to build muscle to help support my body. And so I had been working out in the gym for about maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years before meeting you, Jonathan. And then you found me, and we've been working together for the past year. I don't remember, I think it was like 128 pounds when we started working together. And now, as of this morning, I'm 131, but my body has completely shifted. Then I was like skinny fat. Now I do have excess skin from losing over 125 pounds. But I am in the best shape of my life. I can see muscles and all the things that I couldn't see before. So,
Yeah, that's what makes a difference. And I'm sure this probably mirrors a lot of other people's experience of carnivore diet. They don't necessarily, if they're already in good shape, they don't necessarily lose a load of weight
mhm.
extra. It's more like they sort of maintain the same body weight, but they look a bit better each passing month. That's what I've been trying to do with you. Anyway, as of recent, maybe it is a month or so ago now, we actually competed in a slim to fit transformation competition. Did you mind sharing a bit about that and why you set that as your goal? And basically what we did, like the rundown roughly week by week to sort of get there.
So, I was approached at my gym after everybody had kind of learned about my story, about my weight loss. I was approached and asked to be a part of this Slim to Fit show at my local fitness expo here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I was really nervous, but it gave me a goal to work toward. Um, and I kind of got the bug of wanting to start competing in bodybuilding. The only thing that's currently holding me back is my excess skin. But no, once I had that goal to get there, Jonathan and I started working together, week by week. He made my uh, told me what to do in the gym, and I would execute what I had to do each week. And he you did all my macros, and I was able to follow those. We did more of like I would say a building phase, and then we started going into prep. And even though I wasn't in a full prep, he gave me the best experience that I could ever have getting through my prep phase. So he would slowly tweak every week we would check in, and he would slowly check, what needed to move, like macro wise. Like he would tweak my protein, he would tweak my fat. And I was noticing as the body fat was coming down each week, I could see the different shift. And by the time from where we started to stage, I still think it's complete transformation. I had the big wow factor at the show, which was really, really like it's emotions that,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I tried to give you was like a sample of how it would feel to be in a proper bodybuilding contest prep. So I
Mhm.
wasn't going to pull you down as hard as someone that I know has got a perfect bill of health already. It's already very, very lean. Um,
Mhm.
we weren't trying to get to that point where you got diminishing returns, made you feel unwell. We wanted to push you hard enough, but kind of work out where your bottlenecks were. You're pretty good. I mean, because you're very careful with your feedback. Um, you're sort of mindful of like, oh, I did or didn't sleep well. These are my scale weights. All the information I needed was there. All I have to do is look at it and think, okay, she's doing well. We can push a bit harder. Sometimes I know you sometimes mention like you felt a bit hungry or sort of thing, which is fine. You kind of anticipate that. The hunger level should be dictated by the level of depth or intensity of the diet itself. So if you're, as a man, for example, if I was 20% body fat, so slightly overweight, and I was trying to get 10%, I'm going to be trying harder at 10% than I am at 20%. And to get more results at 10%, I have to do a lot more things. So I tried to structure it that way. So we added more check-ins in terms of like the
Mhm.
weights, so we could be more accurate with our sort of our body. Tried to get the body to a point where it's at a bit of an equilibrium where it's very hard to get the body to do something wrong. So the last week, I know you're asking about like, do we need to fat load, carb load, deplete? Do we need to do all these things, dehydrate? I said no, because there's no point. So we've been doing all that preparation stuff prior to that. So we've been fine tuning things, being mindful of like your hydration levels, performance in the gym. So when you have that final week, it's just a case of, well, let's try and average out what you need to do to give the best look in terms of what the best weight is that you hit on stage. And everybody has their best weight, and it's not always the biggest, it's not always the lightest. It's sometimes somewhere in the middle. But we know roughly this year, if you're finishing sort of scale weight, we can look at that, look at your body composition, how your fitness levels are, how your sleep is, how your recovery is, how your appetite is, and use that as data for next year if you compete next year or even the year after. So we've got an idea of where you're at now and how hard you might have to push to get to the next level. And obviously, your limitation is going to be with the loose skin, because I know you had feedback from different coaches and judges, I imagine. And
Yes.
yeah, that's something we're working towards now. So um, if I'm going to put the fundraiser link below in the description, so hopefully people will chuck some money her way if they can, please. So
Yes.
it's going to go towards affording a very expensive. It's like we could call it like a tummy tuck kind of
Yeah.
surgery,
Yeah. It's a
excess
tough.
skin removal sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's
I just
a
wanted to mention as well,
60.
she's done this all naturally. Yeah, she's done this drug free all naturally herself. So she's done the hard work. So I think she deserves a reward, in my opinion. A lot of us fall to the wayside a bit with our health, and sometimes we don't always realize it until it's too late, and we can get excess skin. But Kimberly now is full of passion, intensity. She's ferocious in the gym. Probably one of my best trainers, actually. So she knows probably most of what I know in terms of training now at this point, which is really cool to see. So I don't even need to check her technique, because I know she's right on it all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that brings me to my next question. Um, is now you're out of the contest prep phase, you're obviously building the food back up quite slowly, and you've got a check-in today, which I'm going to look at. I kind of wanted to ask how you're finding things right now versus how you found them the week prior to the show. Do you have more energy? What are the positives so far?
So the one thing that I was surprised about prep, and granted, I wasn't as depleted as most. I never really lost my drive and my energy in the gym. Uh, but I wasn't moving up in weight, in my weights at all, but I was still making progress. Um, but now that we're slowly, driving things up again, um, I'm my figure is definitely my muscles are more full. And I've moved up in weight already in all of my lower body stuff. And I'm probably about to move up again in hip thrust because I've got so much strength going on right now. Um, I I feel like I feel like I can keep going. Like, even though I've hit
Yeah,
failure twice, I'm like, let's do it again. so,
yeah,
so I'm a little overachiever. I'm like, I don't give up. I'm like, I can do more. This is easy. So,
yeah.
and that's where I'm like, okay, am I doing enough weight? Should I go? But I also have to be careful along with my EDS because I know I can overdo it. So,
That's why we count time to tension with your set.
mhm,
So we know, for example, certain joints, certain parts of the body will you can like lock in and apply maximum effort for a certain period of time. You can't do that maybe for 4 minutes. You can't do that for 10 seconds. It's somewhere in the middle. So we find like for you like yes, you could say like a bracket of time to tension that you have for each set. And all you're
mhm,
doing is basically trying to keep within that time to tension safe sort of period of time that's set in that set, but just increase the load over time. We only increase the load obviously when your technique's spot on, because otherwise you're just lying to yourself. You're not getting better. So
mhm,
yeah, I've been able to sort of encourage that into your mindset quite a lot over the past few months, especially in regards to apply the effort, but make sure that effort's not squandered, that you're not risking injury and things like that. We had a conversation recently, and now it's the long game, so the off season. It's not much fun. You don't see much in the mirror because you've got maybe a bit more body fat at the time. I know bodybuilders mostly do. Um, so it's a case of basically using strength as your main progression metric in the gym. So as long as strength's good, sleep's good, then we're in good terms, I think. And
mhm,
we're just making tiny little micro gains each month, maybe 200 grams, half a pound here and there. And, we know if you've gained 2 pounds in a month, it's probably not muscle. That'll be reflected upon with your waist measurements and things like that. But yeah, I'm really happy with how things are going so far. But I guess the next sort of thing I want to talk about is bringing up like weak body parts and what you're looking to bring up at the moment. Is there like a specific body part or area that you want to sort of improve? And how do you think you might do that as well?
Uh, well, we in physique right now, I feel like um my lower body right now is building really, really well, in my opinion. Uh, I tend to lack a lot of upper body strength. And I feel like, in my opinion, um, like my shoulders need to be like that. They're the ones that are having, in my opinion, the hardest time. Like I haven't moved up in weight with them, even though I do time under tension and I'm very meticulous about my movements. Um, and then I do know, and we've discussed this before, Jonathan, that I tend to have sometimes a hard time developing my back, and you
Mm,
and we've talked about that. So I know that those two areas, but I also know with my division that I'm trying to go for, which is wellness, you still need that X frame, but your upper body is supposed to be slightly disproportionate to your lower body. So your lower body is supposed to be the showcase. So, um,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
so I do
Yeah.
know that I do need to like the main focus is leg and lower body development, but I do know that I need a little bit of structure up top.
Yeah. So the way we get about that, guys, is unfortunately the shoulders are very prone to injury. You know,
Mm.
um, you got to be very careful of them, especially with the joints, the elbows, and the actual shoulder joint itself. Because it's, I guess you could say, a complex group of muscles. I could say you could also say it's probably a weaker group of muscles than say a chest.
Mhm.
You're lifting something overhead, the risk of injury is a bit higher. So in
Mhm.
this kind of instance where someone's trying to develop more shoulder muscle, would actually increase the amount of exercises simply because if she's shoulder pressing, say 40 kilos or 100 pounds, okay, she's just going to keep going until she gets 200 pounds. Probably not. You know, there's a
Mhm.
point because your shoulders will only ever be so big, especially as a female. So you have to add in sort of little things here and there. So that'll probably be the next tweak we make.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, what's your training program been like so far for the past few months then?
So far, my training program that we're doing is I do lower body, 2 dedicated lower bodies Monday and Wednesday, and then I do an upper body on Tuesday, and then a full body on Friday. So by the time I get to Friday, my lower body is toast. But upper body wise, it's cut this week. It was a little fatigued on Friday, but not, not as bad. But
Mm.
I had a little, like today I have a little bit of muscle soreness, but not anything crazy. But that's pretty
Yeah,
much what we've been doing. And then I have a rest day on Thursday, and then my weekends are rest days.
yeah. It's not a simple sort of program, really.
Yeah.
People listen to this and they'll probably say, "Oh, but isn't it better to do this or that?" But the thing is, it's what you can recover from and develop from continually over a long period of time, but also give you enough sort of training stimulus, enough volume, intensity, um, in a certain muscle group over a span of time as well.
Mhm.
So it's not a case of, Kimberly wants to bring up her shoulders. It's not, oh, add on 3 sets of shoulders per week. That might be too much. It might be take a set off for maybe a stronger body parts, like maybe her calves or something, or maybe her quads or something, a different body part. You're trying to keep the overall training volume similar. Obviously, a set of squats, for example, is not going to be the same as a set of shoulder press in terms of like systemic fatigue and recovery debt. But you sort of make these sort of mindful decisions over time, and the training programs do change over time. But yeah, for me, most people when they start versus when they end bodybuilding, their weak points are the same. So just goes to show how even no matter how much we refine things, sometimes you only get to a certain level of development. So it's about taking the sort of initiative, I guess you could say, and like the maturity sort of standpoint to say this might not work. It might be my genetic limitation. It doesn't mean you
Mhm.
shouldn't stop trying. So we just do what we can, really. And, that's something all bodybuilders fight with. So, but building a symmetrical body is a hard ask. Sometimes it can take people years. But the great thing is you invest into this. You're passionate. And you're optimistic for the results, which is good. So you just stay motivated. So it's always much more fun in that kind of way. Now about your diet, how does that sort of change over time? So if you bring me back to roughly where you started your diet before official, I guess you could say like competition prep phase, what were you eating then versus what you're eating close to show day? Like, did things change? Were things decreased or increased? What food choices changed?
I know that when we were prior to prep, I was really, really, really high protein, and with like moderate fat, I believe, and at the time, I don't even think I was even doing any type of carb. And then once we started prep, and those days were like I was eating a lot. I was eating
Yeah,
sometimes I would have to break up my meals because I was eating a lot of protein and I was very full all the time. I had no hunger. But during prep is when we started tweaking things down. You would bring down my fat. I think we kept my protein high for a little while, and then eventually towards closer to show, we did bring protein down. But we did start incorporating 20 grams of carbs. And that did help, I think, energy wise, in my opinion, um, especially towards the end of prep. Um, and I was having 3 meals a day at that point. Before it was like maybe 3 or 4 meals a day.
Yeah.
Now it's similar. I'm still having 3 meals a day. And we are 200 grams of protein, and I'm going to fudge this, and like 60 grams of fat and 20 grams of carbs, is what I'm doing now. And I have like 3 meals, and it's really easy to keep with everything that I have going on in my life. So, and it's the same, like I was eating a lot more like chicken before when we were prior to prep. And I still make sure that I have ground beef at least once a day. Now I'm having, and I have like a little bit of dairy, like cheese. And then for carbs right now, I'm having like maybe a rice cake. So
Yeah, I mean, people listening to this and thinking, "Good carnivore, why have you added carbs to a diet?" Or maybe the question might rise,
yeah.
why is her fat intake still low relative to like what she's doing prior? I've got a video actually about thyroid reset protocol, which is, I believe that's my numbers currently. I think it's actually airing tonight. So this would be airing after the fact of the video coming out tonight about the metabolism rate reset sort of thing. The thing was, Kimberly's metabolism was not broken. Therefore, we did not have to reverse diet her. There was no point, you know? Because if I looked for her feedback, so if it got to competition prep day and say all your numbers were like 1 out of 5, like, oh, I'm starving, hungry, I'm not sleeping, I feel like binging all the time, my bowel movements are all off, all this sort of stuff, like everything's going wrong. Yeah, then a reverse diet is a useful tool. But it's only a useful tool if you need to add that tool. Right now, she's feeling good. She said by her own confession, she's built some muscle since they actually showed it herself. So that tells me we don't need to change anything. There's no benefit. Now, before we do, the next competition will eventually, over time, leave that gap, that margin to increase food. So we've got more runway. And if I put Kimberly on a 150-gram fat a day diet right out of the gate, like my sort of protocol might suggest if you look through the numbers there, she's just going to gain body fat. But it's not going to serve her more in trained performance recovery because she's already in a good spot. So there's no point. It'd be nice to say put more food in, but the thing is, say I put 150 grams of fat in, then where do we move from there? Because I know beyond a certain point, we'll start to gain body fat. So right now, it's about keeping lean, keeping the skin tighter, and just gradually add on tiny little bits of muscle where she needs it, which I think is a better approach, in my opinion. But, people always talk about reverse dieting or not reverse dieting. This is a case where you don't need to, so we have not done that. It's very individually in that kind of regard. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, how long have you been carnivore? Because that's quite an important point to get across here.
I've been carnivore for 6 years now. I'm going on 7 years next spring.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've been at this for a long time. So you're confident with what you're doing, and you gave me the trust to sort of say add in a rice cake sort of thing. The thing is, when you're doing these long diets and low food for a long period of time, sometimes it's actually nice to just have a bit of carbs in there. So I sort of plugged in enough to sort of say you could have an apple or fruit if you tolerate it, or some berries, or a bit of extra yogurt. There's something you like, which means you're actually more likely to be able to adhere to the diet because there's stuff in there you like. Like I know we've spoken before, I think it's your meal two maybe. You do a bit of mustard and ground beef and is it cheese? That's like a favourite thing. So we want to keep that in as a staple. If you can still reach your goals and still have that in your diet, why would I change that or get rid of it? It's not. You're just going to resent me for it. He's taken away my beef and mustard. This bloke, So yeah, it's coaching is a lot more than trying to do what I think might be optimal. It's sometimes about getting people on board with the plan itself. And, compliance is the science, as they say. So you have to be able to adhere to it. And I mean, you're someone that's very much like you're gonna put in the work regardless. But you can do it an easier way or a harder way, you know. So I always choose the smarter, sort of easier, more efficient way, in my opinion. But yeah, so do you have any questions for me so far on what we've discussed? Or
No, I have no questions. I have been blown away with working with you. You have completely changed everything. I am not the same person that I was like a year ago. Like even personality wise, like
yeah,
I have more balls now.
that's what I said to you. Yeah, and
Yeah.
'cause I follow I'll I'll put all of Kimberly's links below as well, so her Instagram, things like that, and the fundraiser. But if you look back at Kimberly's stories or videos from like, on Instagram, maybe like a year ago to what she is now, you see the same sort of face, the same sort of person, but not the same personality. You know, you're I'd say a lot more stoic. You sort of run into challenges now, which is probably can be a bit good or bad thing. I'm a bit like that. It's a bit infectious sometimes, but you can't help but sort of put more fight in you, sort of thing. That's what I've noticed.
I get aggravated when I see people in the gym because their time under I'm like, you slow down. Stop. What are you doing? Slow your weights down. And they're just like pumping out. I'm just like, oh, you need to stop.
Yeah, yeah. The training is a funny side of it, which I try and show people, and they don't want to believe it. It's like just try it, just try it for long enough to sort of say you're giving it a good go, like a month, 6, 8 weeks. You're quite surprised. But the thing is, yeah, it's all about the implementation of it. It's about how you do it. So I could say do 80 seconds times tension for chest press, but if your last repetition or so is not difficult, then it's
Mhm.
not going to do more than what you're doing before. You know, it's about the intensity level. But yeah, I've had a question as well about so how would you describe your sort of your set? So say you're doing your hip thrust or something in the gym. So you know, it's in your program. You just read it. What are you going to do? What's the first thing you think about? You know, what are you concerned about when you're doing it? Is there anything like rituals you have, or
Well, I first of all have a good playlist,
yeah,
one that makes you feel like a badass. Excuse me.
yeah,
But but I get on the machine. I have a pad because I'm very bony. So I have a pad that I put in between me and the strap, just to keep from bruising really bad. And I make sure that I'm laying on the pad correctly. And I move my feet until I feel tension in my glutes. Um, I test out the weight. I put on my weights. You know, I don't do a warm up set. I don't do any of that. I go straight in. Um, and I think I'm at 180 pounds right now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so, uh, but I make sure I lift the weight before I even let go of the thing that holds it up. I can't think of the word
yeah,
right now, but I test it and it makes sure that I'm engaging the right muscles. Am I too much in my quads? Am I too much in my hamstrings? Or am I right on the money with all my glutes? As soon as I feel that engagement, I set my feet and that's where they stay. And then I set my timer, put my timer down because it counts me down until it starts my time. And then I go right into my movement and I'm making sure that I'm engaging all of my muscles and I hold perfect form the entire time. And I'm making sure I'm doing my breathing, to make sure that I'm properly engaging what muscles and I'm not holding my breath the entire time.
yeah.
I've started,
It's a big one, that one.
yeah, I've started kind of making a noise, I guess. It's kind of like it's from when I was doing martial arts with my kids, where you kind of go like that. So that's my reminder at the top of the movement to make that noise, to exhale, to not make sure that I'm not holding my breath the entire time. So, But I just
Yeah.
go through the movement and I listen to because I have a tempo thing and I listen to my movement tempo and I just follow it the whole time until I can go no more.
Yeah, holding your breath is a problem that a lot of people do. I do it sometimes as well. Sometimes, like by trying to brace your core, you end up holding your breath, which can be a bad thing. Especially when you're doing like a 2 minute leg press set or something. You need all the oxygen you can get for something like that. One sort of common mistake I see with a lot of people when they're doing the leg press, for example, they'll do it and they'll feel like, oh, I didn't really feel that one. It didn't really connect well. I'm like, so you just spent a minute and a half doing something, putting your hands on your knees to try and squeeze out more reps, and you couldn't feel it. It was a wasted set, really, if you think about it. So I like your approach of thinking, touch the weight, make sure it's activated. You're not going to town with it. You're just thinking, that feels right. Okay, that's how it's going to go for my body. Yeah, that's how our tension's going to change as I go through the depth of movement. That's a good way to do it. I'm at the point now where I don't have to do that unless it's a new movement. But I do use a style of imagery. So before my workout today, for example, I've already done it in my head twice. Did it last night and did it this morning. I was thinking about it as I was doing it. Also looking at the weights on my phone that I used to track it. So 70 kilos. Yeah. I think I struggled last time. I probably got about 85 seconds now, maybe 6 reps or something. Let's maybe do that again. But this time this week, I'm feeling stronger this week. I've got maybe a bit more food in my system. What I'm going to do the hold on the last rep. So that's how I like to increase intensity. I think it's the safest way to do it. So you do, for example, say you got 10 reps or something, or maybe like a minute and a half of an exercise. Might be the glute thrust. Maybe that last rep where you're sort of thinking like your glutes are shaking, you can't hold it anymore. Maybe just try and hold it for as long as you can, even if it's like 4 or 5 seconds. And those 4 or 5 seconds will be like hell. You'll be looking at your clock and thinking, "Oh my god, I'm still holding it." But when you can no longer hold it, you can lower it safely under clip it back in the holder sort of thing. Then you're safe and good to go. But you've got to be mindful of the training intensity side of it should match the safety of the exercise. The safer the exercise is, the harder you can train. You can't train very hard, most people, safely doing a barbell back squat because the weight's going to crush you. Or you've got to have spotter arms. It's got to roll onto your back or something. There's always that's why I prefer machines. And I knew with you and myself as well, I guess you could say joint issues. We have to choose sort of machines and exercise very carefully. So when we've started, I sort of said, how does this connect well? Does that connect well with you? Do you enjoy this? We're a bit more specialised with the movements. I can't just chuck Kimberly on a barbell back squat and just say go for it. It wouldn't be much fun. So you're better off just isolating it with the same muscle groups, just with different movements.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, how would you say the movements have been for you so far? I mean, if you said maybe a year ago we started at X weight, where are you at now? So for, I don't know, the say a chest press or something, or a pull down.
Pull down. I mean, I started. Oh gosh, pull down. I think I started at like 20 pounds or something, and now I'm at 77 pounds, getting ready to move up. Leg press. I started out with just the bar. Now I'm at 240. So, and that's complete controlled movement, and I think I'm actually getting ready to move up on that as well. Chest press, I started out with the lowest weight, I think was like 20 pounds, and now I'm at 55, getting ready to go to 60. So,
you must feel pretty powerful, because it's funny thinking about these numbers like 20 pounds. It doesn't sound like a lot in my head, but the average person doesn't have that much strength. You put them on a machine and they're shaking from no weight, seemingly. The fact is you sort of multiplied your weight used. Technique's better, sort of thing. Getting development for it, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I can leg press my husband right now.
Can I ask how much he weighs for the viewers?
He's about 240. So I could pretty much leg press him. I can pick him up.
Sure, yeah. I can't lift that much, guys. I think the most weight I probably lift at the gym now is a calf press or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. I think which is quite safe for me. I'd say I'm probably weakest at chest pressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably that's my weakest body part. Or if it's like a upper back, mid back row, then I'm not very strong at all. I can't apply much intensity to actually use more sets of that because I'm better off in a way training maybe 90% to failure, doing 2 sets than I am doing 1 set to failure. Just because to get to failure with a messed up spine, it's not. I've been trying to do it, but it just doesn't work. You know.
Yeah, no, my back is, I'm still stuck at the same weight with my back doing T-bar. I started with bar and then now I'm at 45 pounds and I've been kind of stuck there, but I think I'm getting ready to finally move up. It's been a while. Um, but I do have less strength in my upper body. My lower body's totally different story. So, but it's definitely, where I was like, I've always told people that I'm a mentally strong person. But I wanted my body to match my mind because I used to feel
Yeah.
so weak. And now I'm like, let's go. What do you got?
More evened out. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So with that in mind, like we set aside your immediate goals, objectives, like to get a bit stronger, stay lean, build the
mhm.
food up very slowly. What are your long term goals? So thinking maybe like a year down the line, 2 years down the line. Where do you see yourself?
Hopefully on that stage, making my coach really proud of me. um,
Yeah.
I actually have a friend of mine at the gym. She's currently on her weight loss journey. She's reminds me a lot of myself, and her and I have a goal that her and I are going to compete in wellness against each other in 2 years. Like that's the goal. Like so,
Get her on my
um,
coaching, Kimberly.
I've tried. She's looked you up.
Yeah.
Um, so she's currently working with one of the trainers at the gym. Boo. Anyways, but she's
Oh,
doing really well. Um,
that's the main thing. Yeah.
yeah. And so um she did the slim to fit. She's actually one of the people that got me into doing the slim to fit. So but that's our goal. The goal is for her and I to compete against each other eventually. I want to continue to help train my daughters in the gym and get them physically strong and keep them from developing issues like I did with my health problems. My oldest daughter
Yeah.
does have POTS as well. And I'm trying to help her not have that. But also with bodybuilding, they don't really want to. Well, my youngest wants to bodybuild. She actually wants to compete eventually. She's going to be 14 soon. Um, but she did beauty pageants and she's like, Mom, it's just beauty pageants in a bikini. And I'm like, yes. Um, where my oldest wants to use the muscles that she wants to develop for taekwondo. So, but I just want to be an example to my children and to eventually my grandchildren that you can accomplish anything as long as you set your mind to it. Um, and so the overall goal is to hit stage at least one time to compete. I don't know if I'll ever do NPC Federation. I would love
Mm.
to, but I do know that competitively, I would have to have my skin removed in order to do NPC.
That's the thing is there's always limitations to these things.
Hmm.
Um, it's good to me. You think you've got the mature approach. You got people around you that support you to do it. You know,
Hmm.
you've got me coaching. You've got online carnivore community, sort of keeping you adherent, sort of thing, and all this sort of stuff. So now it's just a case of putting in the work. The very mundane and boring place to be in bodybuilding. It's just that year or two of just like building a bit of muscle, trying not to get fat, going for each sort of festivity and occasion sort of thing. Um, yeah, that kind of brings us to one more question. I've been carnivore now for over 6 years. How adherent would you say you are of the diet? When I say adherent, I mean if you're eating yogurt and eggs and animal foods, you're fine. But if you're adding in like I don't know, maybe over the last year, or even compared to the prior 6 years, How adherent are you now versus how adherent are you back then?
So back then I was like super strict carnivore, like super, super strict. Didn't have anything. I did have dairy here and there. But in my opinion, I mean, I got so much different what was really carnivore, what was not carnivore type stuff going on back then.
Yeah,
Now, I predominantly eat, I do have dairy now. I have Greek yogurt in the morning occasionally. Um, I have ground beef and chicken, sometimes some seafood, but I do allow myself, if I go out with family and say, as long as I let Jonathan know, like, hey, I'm going to have an off plan meal, um, I'll allow myself to have like sweet potato fries, or a piece of cheesecake.
yeah,
um, Things like that. I do allow at least every once in a blue moon. Um, Sometimes I do pay for it and I do have inflammation that I can feel within my joints and my body, and but it goes away after about a week. But I'm pretty much carnivore any other time than that, like other than having like my rice cake.
yeah,
So um but I pretty much am, carnivore animal based as of right now. So
yeah. I'm much the same, really. I have. I mean, I've this year I've probably had like 5 off-plan meals
mhm.
in totality. Um, so I started contest prep quite early in the year, so it meant all the
I
family gatherings didn't really happen, or if they did, I just like have a black coffee or something, Had my birthday on that day. I pre-weighed all my food before everyone else came around and started like trying to force feed me for some reason. And I had all that. It was separately counted, so it was within my macros of that day. Yeah, I've not really missed a beat. I don't really care, to be honest. Like, I can quite happily sit in a restaurant, not have the extra food. But I think by the end of this year, when I've got 2 more goals. By the end of this year, say maybe November sort of time, I'm gonna go out, go with my brother, maybe go to the Cornish pasty stop by a pasty. It's like a baked pastry with meat inside of it, gravy, stuff like that. They're nice, honestly. Uh, Not carnivore though. Then probably get some fish and chips, some salt and vinegar, some ketchup, dip it in gravy or something, or curry sauce, and have a big Mister, what do you call it? Not McFlurry, a Mister Whippy ice cream.
ah,
Like the cream with the swirls and sprinkles and stuff. I'll sit there by the beach, eat that, and think, well, I can do this again next year if I do well. That'll be my treat. Yeah, I can get behind that. Like you said to me before, like, I've got a meal out of family planned. It's just take the meal. You can't buy that time back. And yeah, there are sort of ways of getting around it. You can go to In and Out and get, I don't know, 4 doubles and cheese and just get rid of all the salad and bun and stuff. But you can't do that forever, because one day you're gonna be without it for 6 months straight. Your gut's never had a bun. You have the bun or the potato chips, the French fries. You have it, and you're like dead for like a week. So I'd rather
mhm.
some be 99% adherent all the time than 100% adherent and fall off the wagon like every month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll keep those structured in. I think the sort of regular meals for family, just maybe like one every month or maybe 2 a month or something. Yeah,
It's only really, I only go off plan for birthdays, and if there's like the family from church that wants to get together with us, that's very rare. Like it's very rare
yeah,
we go out at all to eat. So it's like as long as I have the birthday time and like one every once in a blue moon, like if my husband wants to take me out to dinner, then that's, that works for me. But I'm not like pressed about like I have to go out and eat
yeah.
like other food. Like it does not bother me to stay as
The
strict as
food
I do.
focus goes over. People that are watching this might be a year and 2 years. After like 3, 4, 5 years being carnivore, we're doing it about 6.5 now. Your interest in these things does go. You go for the novelty of being with your family to celebrate something. You don't go
Mhm,
for the food. Like the idea of the food, you don't even think about really. But
mhm,
I went to just one last point. I went to a buffet with Joe about 3 weeks ago or something for her
mhm.
birthday, and I did it what I would call animal based. So it's like meat with a bit of sauce in some cases, a bit of salad, some raw fish, no ice cream, no bun, no chips, no, stuff like obvious things, no pizza. I just had the meat, with a bit of salad sort of thing, pickled onions, stuff like that. Some seaweed. I really enjoyed it, and the next day I woke up 0.2 kilos lighter, about half-pound lighter. So I was like, that's good. The sodium didn't nail me. That's one thing about eating out is the secret stuff they add to it. That's when it can affect the scale weight. So it is really helpful if a client tells me, I'm going to eat this. Or is it plain sushi? Is it the greasiest burger bar there is in town? Like, because that'll impact your scale weight the next day. So I know, for example, it might be that you've eaten something which you think is really clean. You might have had a baked potato, a bit of butter, and a steak. But on that steak, there's like 30 grams of seed oils, and your guts are inflamed, and your stomach's out here. That's why. You can tell me. Yeah, when I had it, it wasn't butter, it was seed oils and junk food sort of thing. So it's always helpful to know what someone has. It's not out of just curiosity sort of thing. It's genuinely helpful to know what people have. What's your favorite animal food? It's the last question.
Favorite animal food is a ribeye steak.
How would you cook it? Rare?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sometimes tempted not to cook it. I just think I could probably put that in the pan for about 10 seconds. Kill the bugs. Yeah. I so rarely have steaks now because I'm always full. I eat so much meat. It's insane. But if I'm in a spot in a pre-contest phase where I'm hungry, if that ever happens, I'm switching from ground beef to like pulled beef. Harder to chew, takes longer, sort of thing. Yeah, it's all useful little stuff. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have you on again, but we'll do a live session. This will be aired to my channel members probably today or tomorrow. Currently it is the 8th of August 2026. We'll do a live down the line. Hopefully that'll be a mutually convenient time. Get the audience in to ask you lots of questions about your journey and gain some experience and expertise from you.
Okay.
All right. Well, just so everyone knows, just to remind them, where can they find you online on socials?
They can find me at iron_stability on Instagram.
Easy. I'll link that one below as well. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers. Kimberly, appreciate that. I live with a condition called CRPS, which is the most painful condition known to man, and also suffer with autism and chronic fatigue syndrome. I've been having a hard time recently. I'm reaching out for help. If anyone is able to support me, it'd be much appreciated. And it is for a Give, Send, Go link, which I'll link below this video. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of this clip.